Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to discuss about 5 biggest mistakes that people make as a debater and as a public speaker. I'm not making the introduction so long, so let's get and dive it into the video. But before that, let me introduce myself. So hi, if you have come first time on my channel, my name is Aditi Ranjan and I make content around public speaking, debating, diplomacy, conference, travel, and finally broadcast. If you don't know about Project 765, then go follow my Instagram. You will get more updates about it there. And also with that, hit the like button, share this video, comment down to your reviews, and also subscribe to this channel. And with that, let's move on. Number 5, we have AI. So I hope most of you have guessed what I'm going to say, but let me say it again. For me, or personally me, I'm giving you a quote and I think you should move by this quote. Use AI with yourself, but not for yourself. So with yourself means that you're using your mind into things. So let's say you are writing a speech, you have written a speech, let's say about weaponization or lethal autonomous weapon system. So these are your speech topics. You have written a speech and you want to make it more sound professional, or let's say you want to make it sound more diplomatic. So that are the things that you can make use AI with that. Like let's say I have written a speech and I want to make it more professional, so I can give it to Grammarly or ChatGPT that make it more professional. But I repeat that you should never use AI to just do a copy pasting thing. So I will never go to ChatGPT and say that, hi ChatGPT, I have a debate tomorrow about lethal autonomous weapon system or speech. Let's say it's more kind of speech. So I have a speech tomorrow in 150 words. Give me a speech. And what I do is copy paste the same thing and go and speak that. This, I think there can be no worse action you can take as a debater and public speaker. And those who have done the experience, or those who have experience, they know what I'm actually talking about. And to end with an personal example, I think would be much better. So I'm giving you my personal example. I have done so many of debate and public speaking event, and I tell you, the day or the event I use this copy pasting thing. Even I asked ChatGPT 100 times, make it more humanly, make it more humanly. You think that the judges are fool? Like they will never understand that you have used ChatGPT or Grammarly or Gemini or whatever other AI we have. But trust me, they know, and you will get the worst marks in that event. So I'll repeat, you should never use AI just for copy pasting thing. Point number 4, we have do not memorize. Not memorize does not mean that you don't have to look at the speech what you are giving, or you do not use any like note, or like what do you say, that small note you use for speeches. I forgot the word for that, but you do not have to do that. Like let me tell you what I exactly mean by do not memorize. So do not memorize means that you do not have to actually learn each and every letter, each and every word with a full stop, with a comma. Like you do not have to muggle up things. What you have to do is instead you have to understand the keywords. So let's say if I'm giving a debate, then I have that, okay, this is my first like constructive argument, this is my second constructive argument, and this is my third constructive argument. And I have to remember, okay, in the first let's say argument, I'm saying that we have to talk about, let's say, women empowerment, that women ratio to school is really less, that female child don't go to school. Let's assume this is my first point. So I have to, okay, so let's say let's just take an example. Okay, that 72% of girls don't go to school. So this is the data that I have to remember in my mind. I have to use it in my speech, but that does not mean I will remember every single word, every single comma in that speech. And when you do that, it sounds more robotic, it does not sound human, right? If you remember everything. So always try to understand what you are saying, not instead of memorizing, understand what you are saying and understand the key points, understand where you have a transition between points, understand what examples you are giving, and that's what make a speech more human, and that will make you more connected to the audience. The basic point of debating and public speaking is you have to connect to the audience, right? So that's what makes, and let me tell you a really good like story of mine about this, that every single time. I have given so many debates, I have done so many speech events and so many public speaking events, and every single time the speech that I have in paper and the speech that I give on stage is two different speeches. Every single time, I will tell you, when I go to speech, like I go on the stage to say a speech or a debate or anything, there will be slight changes what I make that on the point. And that exactly what make a debate, a speech, or something that is more human and that will give you more sense of, you know, kind of connection to the audience. So at that time, if you even fumble, you will have a confidence that what I'm saying is right, what I'm saying is like is making an impact in the audience, and even if you fumble, you will have confidence to cover it up. That would make a debate, that would make a public speaking even more connected to people. So always do not try to memorize your speech. Now moving to point number 3 is don't speak to impress. And so what most people have a misconception about public speaking or debating or whatever is that you speak to impress your audience. No, it's just waste of time. If you are going to impress people, or you are going to impress the judge, or if you're going to impress somebody else of your class in the speech, no, that's not what debating or public speaking is. Debating and public speaking is more about connecting to your audience. So that's what I said in point number 4 as well, that connect to your audience. And I will make you understand with a real life example of mine. So when I was in debate in an event, obviously I will not name the event or the person used a very heavy vocabulary, like really crazy vocabulary, and half of the audience, even including me, I did not understand what the person is saying, because the like the amount of heavy words he was putting on the audience was really crazy. And for some reason he also won. But just because he won, I'll not suggest you that you should use heavy vocabulary in your speeches. Speeches are more about connecting to the audience. Okay, you won a debate, you won a speech, but what if your core message does not reach to the audience? What is the morals or what is the ethics of public speaking? It's just waste. So as a public speaker, I'll suggest you that never, or I will say this on face, that never use heavy vocabularies. So I don't mean that if you're sitting in a group of CEOs, you cannot use business words. So change your vocabulary according to the audience. So let's say if you're going to the school and your audience is class 5 students. So you will not use the words you use in the meeting of CEOs. And let's say you are into a meeting of CEOs, you're sitting with a lot many companies, you're sitting for collaboration or whatever, you're sitting in a big conference, a global conference. So you will not use the vocabulary you're using for a class 5 audience. So your vocabulary should depend on the type of audience you're presented to. And I repeat, the motive you should have is you should connect to your audience. Just showing that you know more, that showing that you have a great vocabulary does not make you a public speaker. So public speaking is more about connecting. So always try to connect to people. Keep it simple, but keep it more, you know, impactful. Just, you know, if you have said this many speech and the impact is this, you're not a good speaker. But if you say this much and your impact is this much, this is what make you a great public speaker. And with that, I think I have explained ample about point number 3. So let's move to point number 2. So point number 2 is never yell or shout. So, and this is more for a like debate perspective, I would say that in debates, what we actually see on TV, I don't know how many of you watch parliamentary debates, but I do. So you will see that one person is shouting at other and the other has not completed it words, like the sentence, and the other person, like the third person started to say. So that's what we understand when somebody who is not into debates will think about debating. But that's not what actual debate is. You should not yell at people. You should not shout while proving your point. And I will tell you, the moment you start shouting in a debate, the moment you start yelling at the opposition or the preposition, that is exactly the moment when you lose the debate. Because the judge will think, or anybody else will think, that you are not confident enough about your points or about your research or about the motion you are given to, and that is why you're shouting to prove your point right. It's just not it's just not fairly right. So don't try to yell at people. Try to, if there is a conflict in a debate, because debate is like proving that who is better than other, like who is doing more good work than other. And in that case, if you have conflict, if you have like serious level of conflict, try to prove it with logic. Try to prove your point with logic. Try to prove your point with something like put more reasoning to it, put more depth and impact to it, just not by yelling, but by words and by data, by the facts. So never yell in a debate or shout in a debate, because, and I would like to clear here that I don't mean yelling and shouting about the voice modulation. So let's say if I have to say something very serious, or you might have impacted, or you might have heard in this whole video until now, that when I have to put more emphasis on something, I'll make my voice go a little higher and put more pressure on that word. That is what is more, like a voice modulation. But that does not mean that we shout. Shouting and voice modulation are two different things, and I'm pretty sure you guys are so smart to understand the difference between two. So I'm telling you not to shout, but voice modulation, the more you do voice modulation in your speeches, the amazing your speeches and debates are. So that was point number 2, and point number 1 I have different for speech and debate. So point number 1 for debate is listen to the speeches of others. I know it's very impatient for others. I mean, even myself, I have also never, like, in my initial time, I have not heard the speeches of other people. So let's say if I'm the prime minister, talking about the BP debates, of course, if I'm a prime minister, I generally don't listen to the speeches of others. And let's say if you're a whip by mistake, you do not have that much patience to listen to the speeches of what people say. But I'll tell you, this is the worst thing that you can do in a debate. Try to listen to speeches of people from all the perspective. You will get more knowledge. You will know where the conflict is leading. So let's say if a prime minister, you are not obliged to like listen to the speeches, but as a whip, it's your duty to listen to the speeches. So that's how you will summarize the debate, right? So listen to the speeches of what people say. So this will give you more amount of knowledge, more amount of understanding. You will understand, okay, so let's say there is a person in a debate, let's say the member of opposition. The member of opposition is a really great speaker. So when you listen him or her say their speeches, you will understand, okay, here they used voice modulation. Okay, this point was really right, this point was wrong. So you kind of get knowledge and experience from that, and also, you know, in a debate you get where the clashes are going. That is secondary thing. I'm just telling you from a neutral perspective, then that how the speeches will help you. So always listen to the speeches and never miss it. At least try to listen to the speeches. I'm not telling you sit with the focus that, okay, I have to write everything what they say. No, just listen to them. It's just so nice to listen to the speeches and know that, okay, I made a mistake here and this person is doing right at this point, so I have to learn this. This is what basically you do by listening to the speeches. Now, point number 1 for all the public speaker and speech events, I would say that speak for being understood but not for perfect. And I think I have repeated this point so much. You speak to connect with the audience. You speak because your audience will understand what you are saying. Like if I speak with an agenda on the stage, let's say I go to a debate tomorrow or a speech event tomorrow, and the agenda that I have in my mind is that I have to make people work for or stand for peace around the globe. So I want that my audience should understand that particular agenda that I have, and not to be perfect. So I would say that it's really, really common that what if I forgot my speech? What if I missed? What if I fumble? And I will tell you honestly, I never use script in my video. I always write points. So let me show you this. This is all the 5 points I have written about the debate or whatever the point I'm telling, whatever the mistake. So these are the 5 points, and you will notice there is nothing in this page. Everything I'm explaining right now. So you might have seen me fumbling so many times, and not just in this video. You might have seen me fumbling in the previous video as well, and you might have seen me fumbling in so many of videos, and that's quite common. You should be confident enough. Like if you want that you should be perfect in the same time, so let's say you want that my first speech event should be the perfect, like exactly the perfect speech that you can. It's never possible until you do not practice, until you do not have experience. You cannot have that perfect speech. So be confident when you fumble, I would say. The moment that you start cherishing your imperfectness, you try to be perfect. It's just so common. Do not focus on being like, what if I fumble, what if I forgot my line. It's totally common. I have also forgot my speech someday, or some great speakers have also forgot their speeches someday. It's just so common. Do not worry about it, I would say. And don't try to be perfect, like I have to be perfect, I have to win. I think that is what where you lose the spirit of a public speaker. Never try to think that, okay, I have to make, I have to win. I have to win the first fight. No, the moment, this is the moment when you lose the spirit of being a public speaker. But rather, what you should do that, okay, so let's say in a debate, I am doing an opposition work. So let's say I am the leader of opposition. So my main agenda should not be ever winning the first stage, but my agenda should be that influencing all other, that my point is right, influencing everyone, including the judge, that what I'm saying is right, and that's why you should favor me. And the day when you start doing this, and the moment you be perfect in this, you automatically get the first position. So first try to be more influential, and the moment and the day you become more influential, you will of course get the prize. So it just so basic. All the 5 big mistakes people make as a public speaker and as a debater. I too made as a public speaker or as a debater in the beginning, and I don't want any one of you to feel that. So that is why this video is here. Let me know your comments, reviews in the comments, and yeah. And I hope this video was really helpful, and thank you so much for watching and show your love. There are so many great things coming about Project 765 dropping next week. So do make sure to subscribe to this channel and follow my Instagram. And with that, thank you so much.